the WC!
Welcome back to the RIWC. We've added some outlets.
There are 16 electrical outlets on the layout for model railroading. Each one is towards the front of the area that it's in and slightly shows beyond the 2x4. However, these will be covered in the final designs. For a little bit here, they will be fully visible while plugged in. There are 8 ham radio plugins on the layout, and those are towards the back of the bottom sections and will be used to power the ham radios that will be used on the layout. Both circuits are controlled by light switches that are hidden, and right now you can't see anything really happen because the only thing it really does is turn on these 2 packs. So at the moment you can just hear it flip on and off, and that's about it. But this will give us the opportunity to start adding lights and other things to the layout that we will need. We already set up our first ham radio. This is between Brothers and the Cubes. This is on the bridge section that we've discussed earlier. This is a CDM 1550 LS Plus. This is a radio that I purchased at a ham radio swap meet. These radios were used by the WC. However, I do have reason to believe that this one was at one point a firefighter radio. Once we start cleaning up a few things, the only thing that will really be in the way per se is this cord. However, even now we can still fully use the layout with the radio on. Now remember, I did say I would be listening to railroad frequencies, so before anyone jumps on complaining about how there could be railroad frequencies in there, I have programmed that radio. There are railroad frequencies in that radio. There is nothing wrong with listening. There is everything wrong with interfering and everything wrong with talking outside of your license. There's nothing wrong with listening. One of the first things to be added to the layout once the outlets were on was a series of cameras. There are 6 cameras on the layout, 2 wireless like this one, and 4 wired. These cameras will be giving us ground and above shot views of different activities on the layout. This gives a unique perspective that can be used either on live sessions or drive-bys for other videos. Now, one thing that has come up is the possibility of a area for a dispatcher. I plan on really doing dark territory with track warrants. So, although there's not much for a dispatcher screen, there would need to be an area for some communication there. Not every layout's perfect. There are still some things I need to work on, but right now there is no plan for a big dispatcher area. So one question some people may have is, why so many outlets? Well, you got a lot of people that put a lot of stuff on their DCC systems and everything's hooked up and there's one source and blah blah blah. I'd rather have multiple sources. I would rather have, when something goes out, I go back to one area, not the distribution of that area. For an example, you can run lights either on your DCC system, or you can even find a DC power pack and want to hook up lights to that. Well, if I want a third of my layout on a DC power pack for lights, and a third of my layout's lights go out, I know to go to that power pack, or something in that power pack area. I don't have to try to run it back to the distribution, or try to run it back to this bus, or try to run it back to what. And that's just my thing. There's no wrong way to do it. The only wrong way is the way that doesn't work. Okay? There are some instances where you really don't want any DC power packs at all. You want it on your DCC system. That's great. And I'll have to do that when I get there. But for the most part, I want things pretty well spread out. I don't want everything in one collective area. There's a lot of people that do want it in one collective area. Not me. We have purchased some lighting, which will be added at a later time, but we are taking steps towards more track work and less of the frame and bench work. Right now, we are also focusing on our helix. It takes a long time to lay that track. It is a slow process. There's only two of us and a lot of things to consider. Once the track is laid, we'll have to make final adjustments, let everything settle, adjust again, and then move on from the helix. The helix will be in a constant state of adjustment for probably the rest of its life, which is how I designed it. But everything else is slow going at this point. Oh, hey, wait a sec. Before you close YouTube, go ahead and go over to the CN Train Buff. Take a look at his new video. He's got a new dispatch table up. Very impressive, very cool looking. Go comment and tell him what you think about it, and please, while you're there, thank him for taking out the double diamonds.